Shalom, giving all praise to Yahawah, Qadash. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. Giving all praise to Yahawah, Qadash. The true name of the Heavenly Father and the Son. The Father's name is Yahawah. His beloved Son's name is Yahawashi, and the Holy Spirit is the Qadash, holy, and Rawchaa or Rawchaa Qadash. Rawchaa meaning spirit, and Qadash meaning holy. Or the Qadash, Rawchaa, if you want to switch it around, it means holy spirit or spirit holy. So when we pray pursuant to Matthew 28, I believe that's the 19th verse, when you go to Israel scattered throughout the nations, because that's what it actually means when it says go to all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. That's referring to Israelites that are scattered among the nations. So let's get into this video here. I'm going to entitle this video "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, the hypocrisy of the IUIC." And I'm going to go into Spirit, if the Spirit is on me to do so. I wanted to go into the book of Revelation, chapter 14. I want to go into the whole chapter, because what I'm going to do is go back to these breakdowns, as we call it, breakdowns, interpretations. And I'm going to pull out certain words. Oh, by the way, breaking news, and they're not giving it, putting it out there on YouTube, but I caught on CNN that a couple of hours ago, maybe last night, there was an attack by the Israeli forces against the Hamas group, and they were saying, well, they did that to kill 3 of the leaders, but I believe they killed. It's sketchy now. They're not putting it out on YouTube. That they killed the doctor. I believe he was a dentist, but he had Russian citizenship. So Russia has to get involved. You killed one of Russia's own. So Russia has to get involved. But like I said, the news is sketchy. They're not coming out with it. You know how the American media rolls. You know how they get down. So what I'm going to have to do is watch some news outlets outside of the country and some alternative news stations, whether they be on the web or YouTube or whatever. And the first precept that came to my mind was Jeremiah 49, where it says, the least of them shall draw them out. Because if, let's say Iran joins forces with Iraq and Hamas and the Palestinians, and they really, wage a major attack on Israel, the U.S. is going to get involved. And the NATO nations will most likely get involved as well. And Russia will get involved. Russia has to say something now because they killed one of the citizens. This guy was a citizen of, I guess, the Gaza, that area, but he had dual citizenship in Russia. So I don't know if he was born in Russia, has relatives in Russia. So you kill one of Russia's own. So they have to get involved some kind of way. The least of them shall draw them out. The least of them, which are this nation state called Israel, they're gonna pull Babylon into this war, and then they're gonna lose that war, because it's going to be the war of Armageddon, a nuclear war. Anyway, let's get into the subject, and I want to get into my Revelation 14. So anyway, the video came up, I believe Saturday. It was sent to me by Apostle Ryan Lobb. So I saw it and I got mad and I did a video on it. And the elder Ariala did a video on that. And then most recently, this was as of 2 hours ago. Maybe I didn't. Let me do this. Okay, that's 3:37. Okay, so this was put up 2 hours ago, and this is wicked as hell, and this just proves that IUIC, at least these two individuals, are hypocrites, which makes the leadership a bunch of hypocrites because, you know, none of the leadership at IUIC apologized and corrected this. Because when I saw this video, it says hashtag IUIC GMS wife left barefoot and pregnant. There was a pregnant woman out there. You can, if you keep watching the video, you'll see it. And come to find out that the individual, this woman has a husband, and her husband was a part of GMS. They already had the baby, whatever the case may be, but they together. And ain't no GMS member got a woman pregnant and left her, which will be going off. So this is called a false accusation, a false witness. And like if you listen to this whole video, they'll tell you got to keep the laws. They're known for that. Do this, accept the Lord and Jesus Christ, Most High Christ, bless, and keep them laws. But that makes you a hypocrite because you broke a law. First of all, when if you go to John 4, the woman at the well, she started talking to Yahawashi. What was the first thing that Yahawashi said? Where is your husband? Because it's out of order to just a man speaking to another woman. Where is your husband? And she said, I have no husband. And he said, correct. I believe he said you had 5 husbands, and the one that's with you now is not your husband. Meaning he's just there. He gonna hit it a couple of times. He gonna move. Meaning this man ain't committed to you. So what was she? She was a hoe. She was a Sumerian hoe. The Sumerian hoe, which by the way, she was not an Israelite. She was a heathen. She's one of the people that go back to during the time of the Assyrians taking over Israel. And that land, Samaria, was filled up with heathens that was forced to keep the law. But then you had Israelites sprinkled among them. Remember, we were scattered all over the place. But this particular woman was not an Israelite, because some camps teach it, they're going off. This particular woman, the Samaritan woman at the well, she was a heathen, and the Lord basically cursed her out and put her in that place. He said, we, not you. You don't know what the hell you're worshiping. We know what we worship. She said, our father is going back to Jacob. She didn't go back to Jacob. And that's what these small hats say. So anyway, so these guys, this makes the whole leadership of the IUIC a bunch of damn hypocrites. All right? It said GMS wife left barefoot and pregnant, meaning the dude popped the woman and said, F you, I'm moving on to the next one. Which, like I said, I'm saying it again, we found out that she's with this man. The man from GMS and her are together. Okay, he didn't leave nobody. So that was a lie. That was a false accusation. That was a false witness. They didn't even inquire what she did. And then they went off by teaching the new moon, the new moon is the full moon, which is clearly off. Ain't nobody on the planet teaches that. So you mean to tell me that Bishop Nate is that deep that the Most High showed him when the new moon comes in? This is when the real new moon comes in, on the full moon. But he don't know his name. Because if he knew the Lord's name, he wouldn't be saying, who's the King Christ? So these guys are hypocrites all the way around. And like I said in previous videos, the Most High is going to break up the IUIC for their wickedness, for their hypocrisy. Let me read this again. Hashtag IUIC GMS wife, or should be member of GMS wife, left barefoot and pregnant. When I saw that, I said, to me, it came off as, and anybody that saw it that has a half a brain, there was a brother that's down with GMS that knocked up a woman, and then he just stepped on her, which didn't happen. And she was out of order for even stopping. And they were out of order for not even saying, well, where's your husband? We'll talk to your husband. So this is hypocrisy and wickedness. So let me go on to the precepts. Okay, I had some other precepts in the law, but I thought about this one, so I'm gonna open up with this one. This is the Jew is condemned by the law. Now remember what Yahawashi said concerning the wicked scribes and Pharisees. There were some people that came up to Yahawashi in Matthew 23 that said, the scribes and the Pharisees told us to keep the law. And the Lord said, yes. He said, they're right. He said, do as they say, but not as they do. For they say and do not. And if it tells you in James 2, as a matter of fact, I'll go to it. Let me go to James 2. And it's not about the law at this time. When somebody comes into this truth, you don't tell them, oh, look, brother, you got to leave right now. You think you're an Israelite? I accept the fact I'm an Israelite. Well, you better leave. You better go to a fabric store. But you got a wife? No. Or you better go to a company and learn how to sew. Go to the fabric store, get some fringes in the border blue, put the fringes in the border blue on, then you can come back and speak to me. And then, oh, the Passover is coming up in 2 days. You got to keep the Passover. No, it doesn't go that way. You better get circumcised tonight. You better hire a doctor. It doesn't work that way. And see, what they do is they push the law, which when I hear that, I think about the wicked scribes and Pharisees. Now, am I knocking the Lord? No. And then they'll say that, oh, these other camps don't keep the law. Do you think I have a beard on my face because of a fashion statement? Do you think when we go out on the highways and the byways, we got the robes on with the fringes on it? You think that's a fashion statement? We kept the high holy days. We kept the Passover not too long ago. Did we do that because it was a cookout? So what laws are we breaking? That's the hypocrisy of this group. And see, you got individuals like Asaph. Leave the bishop's name out your mouth. Well, he's caught up in his emotions. Now, he did come back and say, I forget exactly how he said it, but he kind of bigged us up in a way. But there's a reason why, if you're listening to this video, there's a reason why we get on him. Do we get on him because of the sign? Have we ever did a video where we said, well, you shouldn't have the sign out, you going off? No, because you're supposed to have the sign out when you speak. Do we say, I'm thinking of something that they do that we may get on. Do we say, well, you ain't supposed to have Puerto Ricans in your camp because all the tribes are black? We ain't going to say that. There's no video that we ever said that. If you have so-called Latin tribes and Native American tribes in there, that's part of the 12 tribes. Thinking of something else. Oh, if we say men shouldn't have long hair, and y'all get mad at that, are we supposed to say that? Yes. The Apostle Paul said, be instant, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, and all long suffering. Merely quoting, paraphrasing. So if a man in IUIC has long braids or long hair, dreadlocks, he's not supposed to have it. if you guys are going by the whole Bible, unless you're dealing with the Old Testament. If you're only dealing with the Old Testament, where did bishops and deacons come from? A bishop and a deacon come from the tradition of men. Because there was no bishops and deacons back in the Old Testament. You had high priests, you had prophets, you had judges. You didn't have bishops. You didn't have bishops and deacons. And a bishop and a deacon should only have one wife. Right, if you're a bishop and a deacon. That's a commandment of man. That's a tradition of man. That's what Paul and them came up with. But if a man in Israel has more than one wife in this time now, you kick him out. We get on you about a man having a wife in the truth, but if she's not in the truth, you got to cut her off, which causes her to commit adultery. Because she's going to eventually get over it and she's going to get with another man. And you caused her to commit it. You broke up families. You broke up a family. And if there's children involved, there's going to be a court. They got to go back and forth to court for, child, whether I get the custody of the child partially on the weekends. She's going to be looking at you with hate. You're going to come over to pick up the kid. There's going to be some other dude in the house watching TV. And you're going to get mad at that. So that's wickedness all the way around. There's none of my damn business. If a brother got a woman and he got two women on the side, that's none of my, I don't want to hear that. That's none of my damn business. That's none of my damn business. Ain't none of my damn business if a man's in the truth and he has a woman and she's a Baptist. That ain't none of my business. So we get on you about that. Everything that we get on you is based upon the scriptures. The new moon being the full moon is way off. None of the camps taught that. Esau doesn't even teach that. The scholars don't even teach that. And we did videos on that. So this man is being rebellious and he's being wicked. That's why we say this is called the gospel of calling the Bishop Nathaniel. Whatever he says goes, even if it's not scriptural. So to add another label to these guys, they're a bunch of hypocrites. Now, if you get me on something and prove that I'm a hypocrite, I'll ask for forgiveness and I'll change my ways. This was clearly wicked. This was clearly wicked. IUIC, hashtag IUIC, GMS wife left barefoot and pregnant. That's false accusation. James 2:10, for whosoever shall keep the whole law, when y'all say keep the law, you're saying keep the whole law, and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now, if thou commit adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. If you bear false witness, that it's no different than committing adultery. It's no different than killing someone. It's no different from stealing. It's no different from blaspheming the name of the Lord, not honoring the Sabbath, which you guys don't honor the Sabbath because the Sabbath doesn't come in based on Friday sundown and Saturday sundown. So now let's go from there. Let's come back over here. Romans 2, verse 17. The key point is in 21. Behold, thou art called a Jew, and restest in the law, and maketh thy boast of the Most High, and knoweth his will, and approveth the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of foolish or the foolish, a teacher of babes. We all come in as babes, which have the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Thou, therefore, which teaches another, teachest thou not thyself? So you can't be telling people to keep the law and you not keeping the laws. You telling a woman you can't wear pants, but you commit adultery. Thou that preachest a man should not steal, doeth thou steal? Thou that saith a man should not commit adultery, doeth thou commit adultery? Or if you teach somebody thou shalt not commit adultery and you bear false witness, James 2:10 says you're guilty of all. Thou that abhorreth idols, doeth thou commit sacrilege, Thou that maketh thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonoreth thou the Most High. For the name, which is Yahawah, Shamawishi, not Most High in Christ bless, or who's the King Christ. Remember when Bishop Nate came out the hospital, he thought he was going to die. He said, I was in a dark period of time. And when he came out and he did the Passover, it was 2022 Passover, he said that he gave a report that I believe it was either 20 or 22 people died from COVID. Well, guess what? Nobody in GMS died of COVID and nobody took the thing. And I bet you, I could be wrong, but I bet you they took that thing. They took that thing because you didn't warn them. Scriptures speak about warning them. It says, for the name of Yahawah is blessed among the Gentiles, the Israelites scattered among the nations that don't know that they're Israelites yet, like all of us, through you, as it is written, for circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made what? Uncircumcision. So you can be circumcised, you can wear the fringes on, and you break the law while you're wearing fringes. The fringes don't cover your ass. You know what cover your ass from sin? Being charitable. It says charity covereth a multitude of sins. So then you got to read this whole chapter. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. So now I'm going to go into the law. Part of the law is you got to call the true name of the Most High. Oh, going back to the Passover 2022, IUIC Passover 2022. Bishop Nathaniel said he was in a dark time and the Most High brought him out of that. There was people that wished I was dead. And he was talking about us. We wasn't wishing that you died, man. We wasn't wishing that you dropped dead. But you said you opened up with Yahawah and Yahawashi. Then you kind of made a snide joke about us. I'm saying it because it gets on their nerves when I don't say it. And he was talking about us. You should have just said GMS. The true defenders of the gospel. That should be another title, the true defenders of the gospel. GMS, 100% truth, the true defenders of the gospel. Because anytime a camp goes off, we get on them. Hey, if somebody's to get on us, we'll change it. We'll say, yep, the brother's right. He hit us with the scriptures. We're not going to do that no more. Anytime we made, the elder from DC, Monaghan, he made a video. He slightly went off. I could have got in contact with him, but I talked to a rhyme lob, and I said, a rhyme lob, what does that mean? It means this, that, and the third. I said, well, watch this video and do what you got to do. That's called delegating authority. Well, that's true leadership when you delegate authority. I don't got to walk around with a horse whip, sneaking up on different. I'm hiding behind a tree down there in GMS, Florida, the various camps down there, seeing if they're going off. I jump on a plane to Dallas, and I'm hiding behind a brick wall, seeing if they're going off. Aha! I don't do that. All these guys are leaders, and you trust them to be leaders. Now, if they're going off, if they're abusing guys, not treating guys right, it's going to always come back. It's always going to come back to other men, and they're going to get straightened out. So now IUIC never straightened these guys out. So this is the law. Since you always saying keep the law. Oh, another thing that you go off on is this new thing, this new doctrine. That lake of fire is in eternal hell. There ain't no eternal hell. The lake of fire is talking about the U.S. being set on fire. So let me go ahead and read some of these precepts. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Does anybody know what false witness is? Let me go over here. I mean, I know what it is, but I want to see what the Christian scholars have to say about this. What does it mean by a false witness? I don't know what that means. I need some commentary. So the only thing that IUIC could do is apologize. And if you apologize, we'll accept your apology. But guess what? That doesn't mean we're going to stop getting on you. We might turn around and say, well, look, you guys are going off on the new moon being the full moon. You guys are going off on this. You guys are going off on that. Your men shouldn't have long hair. Are we wicked for doing that? Oh, hell no, we ain't wicked for doing that. And just for the record, we're not perfect. Okay, let me have this pop up. Okay, let's go to the Cambridge, since I normally go to this one. Okay, let's see what Cambridge says. The ninth commandment against bearing false witness, primarily in a court. Primarily in a court of law, a special common crime in the East, but also more generally by taking away the character of a neighbor by false imputations. That's Exodus 23. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna actually go to this. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Because I want to read a couple of verses. I wanted the first verse, second verse. This is a good one. Neither shalt, we're gonna look that up too. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. We're gonna get into that too, because Bishop Nate likes to call us bums. Let's call it shalt thou countenance the poor man in his cause. If I'm a fellow Israelite in a bad state, you're supposed to help that brother. Hey, the man on the train that got choked out, that Edomite had that devil in him. And then them other guys they were holding his arm so he couldn't get out of the choke. So they should arrest 3 of them. And I hope this thing escalates, man. They let that guy go because he was a fucking white boy. Oh, you're a Marine? You're a white guy and you just killed the nigga that. So now the excuse is, well, this guy was arrested multiple times. Oh, so that means how many times do you have to be arrested so somebody could be justified in killing him? Look, if they don't arrest that white boy, all hell is gonna break loose in New York City. Because that was a wicked act. He wanted to. He said, let me shut this nigga up. That was in his mind. Let me shut this nigga up. So he went behind him, put him in a chokehold, and he put a perfect rear naked choke, which I'm pretty sure he's a jujitsu practitioner. And we'll find out if they arrest him or the city just burn down. Okay, it's going to be another George Floyd situation, thanks to Eric Adams. He ain't looking too good. He ain't looking too good. He got to stand up and do something, man. And that was one of your brothers. He says, he made a statement. I didn't know he was going to die. If I got my hands on somebody and I'm putting pressure on your motherfucking neck and I hold it long enough, you are going to die. You can't hold somebody around the neck and apply pressure on the neck and not realize that this guy's going to die. Nigga, you knew he was going to die. You knew he was going to die. That's murder. That's second-degree murder. So that thing ain't going to stop, man. Yeah, people all up on the train. They jumped on the train tracks. And then you got the NYPD. They're looking like hypocrites, man. A man commits a murder in front of a whole lot of witnesses, and there was 2 other men involved that held the guy's arm so he couldn't escape. The 3 of them should be arrested. And really, all 3 of them should be charged. The other 2 might get a lesser charge, but they should all get felonies. The main guy, Kelly, whatever his name is, the Marine, the white boy, the Edomite, he should, and ain't no Edomite standing up. Fox News ain't gonna say nothing bad about the guy. Because if I was on the train and I seen the guy and I looked at him, he looked skinny, he looked like he needs something to eat. Maybe he gonna do drugs with it. I would have probably gave him if I said, "Here, brother, here's $5, man." You know, I'll probably give him $10. I might give him 5. I said, "You good, brother? You good?" Now calm down, brother. He might have got off the train, went to another car, and did the same act. Maybe nobody would have gave him something. So what it do? So that goes. You know what I thought of? I thought of Cain rising up on Abel. This Marine guy, Kelly, whatever, Kelly, that dude was in the spirit of Cain. And then he lied about it. He said, "I didn't know he was going to die. I put my arm around him and I squeezed real hard for a good while. But I didn't realize it." Like you gonna hang somebody, from a tree, tie his hands back, let him die, and then say, "I didn't realize he was gonna die." And little baby, you got your little baby, you put your little baby in the tub, you put your baby under the water for 2 minutes and the baby dies. "I didn't know the baby was gonna die." That was nothing but the devil in him. The devil just came out of him because he is the devil. What did it say concerning Cain? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and read that. I'm going to different subjects. Well, it says, "And sin lieth at the door, and to it shall be thy desire," meaning the devil going to jump on you and he's going to make you be wicked. Esau does what he does because the devil's on him. So let me read this. "Thou shalt not raise a false report," which they did, which they're guilty of. "Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness." So the leadership of IUIC didn't correct these guys and put up an apology video or suspend these guys. "Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrestle judgment. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause." Let me look up the word countenance. I don't like those definitions. Let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. I want to get a better answer from this. I want to get a better answer from this. Okay, I got to find another. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. It says bear false witness answer in a forensic sense and a court of law, Deuteronomy 19, verse 16, Deuteronomy 19, 18, Numbers 35, 30. Whosoever killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness shall not testify. In other words, you need witnesses, but also more generally, Deuteronomy 31, 21, as a false witness, as an empty, insincere witness. For the penalty for false witness, see Deuteronomy 19, verse 16. Deuteronomy 19, verse 16. So let me look this up. Judgment to be given with strict impartiality. In other words, don't judge a man if you talk to a man a certain way because he's rich, and you talk to another man a certain way because he's poor. Any bad sense, honor, unduly favor out of the false sympathy of antipathy to the rich and powerful. The sense is good and supported by Leviticus 19 and 15. One would expect, however, a warning against the far more common fault of favoring a great man. In other words, you see a poor man, you a bum. And that's what they call us, a bunch of bums. If we're such bums, why don't you write us a check? You're sitting on a lot of money. If not in place of the present warning, at least as in Leviticus 19 and 15, by the side of it, and others by a very slight change, would read, thou shalt not honor a great man in his course. In other words, after many precepts in favor of the poor, this injunction produces a sort of shock, but it is to be understood as simply forbidding any undue favoring of the poor because they are poor. And so the equivalent to the precept in Leviticus 19 and 15, thou shalt not respect the person of the poor in court of justice, strict justice to be rendered without any leaning either toward the rich or toward the poor. To lean either way is to pervert judgment. Because a poor man, you're going to look at him, he's a poor guy. Just let him be found guilty. Let him just get locked up. Look at how many times he got locked up. He got arrested 44 times. That's Esau showing their true colors. Esau ain't never stopped being the devil. That's a topic. Esau ain't never stopped being the devil. Let me go here to James. Let me go back to James. Let me go back to James. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. The sin of partiality. See, now it's on record that Bishop Nate said GMS is the bum camp. Well, if we're such bums, why don't you I'm gonna get another scripture. Willing to distribute, willing to communicate. Give us a call and say, look, we want to give you $1 million check. Not that we want it. We don't want your fucking money. But if we're such you know, such degenerates, such poor ass bums, you're supposed to give us a call. I'm making a video and I'm reaching out to the other Israelite camps. Anybody's in any problems, give me a call. You know, I got some money in the bank and I'm gonna hook you up. You ain't gonna do that. I mean, we ain't asking you for no goddamn check. Okay, we don't need your filthy lucres anyway. It says, my brethren, have not the faith of Yahawah, Yahawashi, the Messiah, the Lord of glory, with respect to persons. It says, for if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring, a goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man and vile apparent, looking like a bum, and ye, that's what the Lord meant in Matthew 11 when he said, what went ye out to see? A man in king's clothing? Because John the Baptist was homeless. He was homeless. He was homeless. He was living in the woods. He was eating grasshoppers, locusts, and wild honey. He didn't have good clothes. He had tattered clothes, man. He looked like a bum, a homeless person. He didn't have the 5 o'clock shadow either. He probably had a big bushy beard. You know, he didn't look, you know, you would see him and say, oh, that's a homeless person. And he had a rugged spirit on him. The Most High gave him the spirit to be an outdoorsman. He was sleeping in the woods among the tarantulas. I had to throw that in for you old wrestling fam. Superstar Billy Graham training with the rattlesnakes and the tarantulas. Inside joke. So that's what the Lord meant. He said, what did you think you was going to see when you saw John the Baptist? You thought he was going to be in king's clothing? It says, and by the way, just for you ISUPK, John the Baptist never fell out the truth. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. John, if you're listening, John the Baptist never fell out the truth. And if you need me to do a video on it, give me a call. I need you to do a video on that, and I'll be glad to do a video on that. It said, for if there come unto you an assembly a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in vile raiment, looking like John the Baptist, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing. Gay back then mean happy, good, rich. The gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my foot. Nigga, just sit over there, just sit on the floor, man. You know? Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? So you can play that bullshit. You can play that bullshit that you're holier than thou. You can play that old scribe and Pharisee bullshit, man. So let's come back over here. Or said, thou shalt not raise a false report, put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. So that's what those guys are guilty of. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Deuteronomy 5:20, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's the law. Deuteronomy 19:16, if a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him, that which is wrong, he's got to be dealt with. He's got to be punished. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness and have testified falsely against his brother, he's going to have to be dealt with. Proverbs 6:19, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Proverbs 12:17, he that speaketh truth showeth forth righteousness, but a false witness deceit, and that's what those guys are guilty of. That was a wicked thing that they did. A false, the fucking devil upstairs. Proverbs 14:5, a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. Proverbs 19:5, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. 9th verse, same chapter, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. You will die. You will perish in flames. Proverbs 21:28, a false witness shall perish, but the man that heareth speaketh constantly. A man that heareth false witness against thy neighbor is a maul and a sword and a sharp arrow. Because lying about somebody gonna get you killed. Like this nigga, polite. You know, he came up against us saying that we go out raping women, he gonna get the Bloods and the Crips on us. And what is he going to court for? Asking for continuance after continuance. He has his judge trying to throw out the DNA evidence. That's the last thing you're gonna throw out. That's the last thing you're gonna throw out. So here this man condemning us for an act that we didn't commit, but here he is on trial for an act that he committed, and everybody knows he did it. He went to the woman's mother. He went to the young girl's mother, saying, "I'm going to take her someplace." So the girl was given into the underage girl was given into your hands. You went to a party. The party was over. You went to the hotel, and all that's on camera. They got you and the girl going in the fucking hotel. The mother being a witness, saying, "Yes, he did that." Say, "Can I get my daughter?" Next thing, a couple hours later, you find out she's drugged up and she got sperm all over her. And it's your fucking sperm. So what you do, if you go to a court system and you're guilty, you're gonna try to buy time with adjournments and continuances. You get a good lawyer, they keep bringing that continuance. So the judge said no more continuances. May 1st is the first day of trial. They had a new witness. The prosecution got a new witness, which is a police officer. So they had the right. The defense has a right to ask for another continuance because there was a new information. They got to get his information before they testify. Both sides have to get the information. That's when you do a direct examination and a cross examination. I know because I used to be in the court system all the goddamn time. And we used to say, look, we don't need no damn lawyers. We're gonna deal with this thing pro se. So anyway, I'm finished with that. So we're waiting, but we're not gonna hold our breaths. We're waiting to see if anybody of the leadership of the IUIC apologize, take this thing down, whatever the case may be. And you're gonna be. Don't hold your breath. Let me just say that. Do not hold your breath. some clown. Yahawah, I'm setting a decree today for all of Israel today. It's the 144th day. I want you to do 144 push-ups and run 14.4 miles while fasting. Shalom. Okay, so now let's go. Let's come over here to Revelation. Revelation 14, and we're going to breeze through this. The Lamb and 144,000 on Mount Zion. First verse, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. It's the same 144,000 Revelation chapter 7, and 4,000 having the Father's name written in their forehead. Now I looked up that word written. Now the word is a Greek word, graphos, which is the root word for karax, which is the root word for charagma. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song. See, we're singing a new song now, the truth, but we're going to be singing the song in the heavens before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Now I look up the word redeemed. It goes back to the root word agora, which means the marketplace. Matter of fact, let me go look that up. So the 144,000 that were redeemed from the earth are the ones of you that saw us speaking on YouTube, came out to the camp, and you joined the camp. The ones that join the camp and they stay until the end, they are most likely one of the elect and probably one of the 144,000. Looking for the word redeemed. Redeemed.
Strong's G59, agarazo. Agarazo.
Agarazo means the marketplace. And it's from the root word G58, agora. There's a movie out called The Agora. It says any assembly, especially of the people, the place of assembly for public debating. By the way, debates, they didn't have it in the auditorium where you had to pay to go see it. You had your debates in the marketplace. Elections. Debates are public and for free. Elections are for free. Trials are for free. That's why you can go into any court. A murder case, you can go into any court. If there's room for you to sit down, you can go into any courtroom and sit down and just, we used to do that. We used to go into courtrooms. There'd be cases and go in the courtroom, just sit down. And then I'll be whispering to the brother that's with me that he said that because of this, that, and the third. And that's how law students learn the law. They actually go into courtrooms. You ever see those TV lawyers? A lot of the advisors are actual lawyers. It says, and they actually quote actual case law. It said for buying and selling for all kinds of business, marketplace, street. That's why we go on the highways and the byways, because the 144,000 and the elect will be redeemed from off the street, meaning also YouTube, because the Most High open this thing up with the World Wide Web. World in the oikomene sense. So let's come on back. third verse. And they sung as it was in the elders. Okay, redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with woman. These are they which were not defiled with woman is referring to philosophies. You got Jake that's in the black consciousness, and they can't see it. When you tell them that they're Israelite, they're going to buck up against you and say, no, we're not Israelites. Israelites never existed. We're Kemetic. We're going to have a debate. The reason why they can't see it because the Most High closed their eyes. So if you, let me see. So one precept that comes to mind is Proverbs 5. My son, attend unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding. So how do you get wisdom and understanding? You have to have teachers that teach you. The Most High is not going to teach you. The Most High is going to teach men to teach other men. That thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. It ain't talking about an actual woman. It's talking about philosophies, Christianity, Islam, Kemet, the Moors, the Baptist Church, the Jehovah's Witness Church. You know, they were seduced by those, you know, religions or ways of life. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Ultimately, if you are part of these groups, when the chip comes, you're gonna take the chip. You're gonna take that chip, and then you're gonna die. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto the Most High and to the Lamb. The first fruit, you can go into that too. The elect are known as the first fruit because the Most High is not going to save all of Israel. The majority of our people are going to die in this country. The only ones that's going to make it is the elect, starting with the 144,000. You see, I'm in the 5th verse. And in their mouth is no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. Give me a second. I believe that's Romans 2, if I'm not mistaken. Bear with me for a minute. We do it this way. Let me try it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it's Romans 3. Romans 3, verse 4. For the Most High forbid, yeah, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and thou mightest overcome when thou art judged. So you can't judge us, because whatever you come against us, we're going to come with the scriptures. When we went into the grape doctrine, as Polite asked us about it, we had to tell them we had to defend the gospel. So we say, yeah, grape is in the Bible. And so we went into the scriptures and showed it. And what did these other Israelites groups do? They got emotional. They got caught up in their emotions. So ultimately, you can't judge us because we were right in what we said, even though it was a harsh answer. That's why the scriptures speak about milk and meat. That you have need of milk. Scriptures speak about in Hebrews 5, have your senses exercised. So now let's come on back. And I saw another angel in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and through us, the men, and to every nation, meaning Israelites scattered in every nation and kindred, every nation, every Israelite scattered among the nations, and tongue. You have Israelites that speak different tongues, and people, which are Israelites, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him. Esau ain't gonna give glory to the Most High, especially if they find out that he's a black. You think the white man's gonna glorify a black man? Fear the Most High and give glory to him for the hour of his judgment. Oh, there it goes again. The hour. That's in Revelation 3:10. The hour of temptation, the hour of his judgment. Was that Revelation 9? It's going to take 1 hour. Is come and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. We know what Babylon is, and we know what it means by it falling. That great city, we know who the great city is, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. Kamala Harris, I spoke about this before. She took a trip over there to Uganda with a check for $60 million, saying you got to change that law on happy people, because the law is if you're happy you get put to death. So she was bringing that human rights stuff, and that's part of that wine, that fornication. That if they want to be happy, they can be happy. If they want to have a happy parade, they can have a happy parade. So Uganda wasn't having it. It says there, what is that? Jeremiah, therefore the nations were mad. Doomed for the worshipers of the beast. A lot of people are going to worship the beast because they don't know that they're worshiping the beast. They don't even know what the beast is, especially these churches. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark. Now you got people that try to make sense out of it. Well, you can worship the beast and you can worship his image, but if you don't take the mark, you're all right. Or you can take the mark, but not worship the beast. Or you can take the mark and worship the beast and not worship the image. That's bullshit. When you take that chip, because that's what it is. It's not sin in any form, whether it be religious or political. That's some bullshit. the mark is the charagma. It's a physical thing that's going to go in your body. The term is called biometrics, body measurement. It says, and receive his mark in his right hand, or in his in his forehead, or in his right, or in his hand. Because you got people from Sweden that get on the left hand. The same shall drink of the wine and the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture. That's the destruction, the fire, the thermonuclear fire, into the Armageddon, into the cup of the indignation, righteous judgment, the justifiable judgment. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And that's the lake of fire. The lake of fire is not burning in a spiritual hell that you burn in forever. It's talking about this place. It's a damn shame we got to go through this, but we got newer people, and the smoke of their torments ascended up forever and ever for a long time, and they have no rest day nor night because they're going to be in slavery. We want to set up, slave camps who worship the beast and his image. Now the Israelites, they're going to come back to us. They're going to start anew, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. So don't try to make sense of it. Oh, you can take it, but you can ask the Most High to forgive you when you see the missiles coming, or you can pull it out the last minute. Once you take it and it's in there, you're done. You mark for death. It says, here is the patient in the faith. Here's the patient of the faith of the saints, which are the elect. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of the Most High. Because when you come into it, you start keeping the laws. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. Meaning, if you die doing this work, your works do follow you. Henceforth, yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, that's Isaiah 57, and their works do follow them. So Abba's work followed him. Masha's work followed him. Yahawah's work followed him, and anybody else that died in this work, their works do follow him. If you fall off and you out the truth for a year and you die, all the works that you did in the past is not going. That's in Ezekiel. The reapers are the angels. This is quick. And I look and behold, a cloud which represents a UFO, and upon the cloud one that sat unto the Son of Man, which is our Lord. Now sometimes it says horse, sometimes it says cloud, sometimes it says mountain. It said, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap. And that's Matthew's 13, verse 38 on down. The reapers are the angels, because the Lord is coming back with the angels. The second in command is Michael, the archangel, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So what are they going to do? They're going to separate the wheat and the tares. They're going to take the tares, which are you Edomites, and they're going to burn you. But Israelites are going to be burnt too. But they're going to come back in the kingdom. They're going to come back as righteous. Any Esau, Edomites that's burnt up, they're going to come back. They're going to be born into slavery. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in the sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven. He also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which they're not going to have an actual sickle. A sickle is like a sword, but it cuts wheat down. They're going to have destroying instruments through spiritual power. Those lasers coming out the ship. The lasers coming out the ship, that's the sickle, which had power over fire, which is a nuclear fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, Yahawashi, our Lord, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle and gather the cluster of the vine of the earth, which are Edomites. That's Isaiah 63, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrusted in the sickle in the earth and gathered the vine of the grapes, the Edomites, and cast them. And this is not going to actually happen. The Most High is not, the Lord is not going to come down and grab a bunch of Edomites and put them in a wine press and stomp on them. This is poetic talk. It says, the angel thrusted in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great wine press of the wrath of the Most High. And the wine press was, in other words, this man's going to get stomped on a high spiritual level, trodden without the city. The city is Babylon, and blood came out of the wine press. He represents mass death. He gonna mass murder the Edomites and 2/3 of Israel and the other nations, even unto the horses' bridle by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.